In the deep silence of space, far beyond the reach of most known civilizations, there floated a quiet, forgotten probe. It drifted slowly near the edge of a black hole in Sector 119. For thousands of years, this small device sent out the same signal again and again in a simple loop. The signal was in human code, but humans hadn't been seen in galactic affairs for hundreds of years. Most species believed they had disappeared or destroyed themselves. The Galactic Empire, the most powerful force in the known universe, once scanned Earth long ago and dismissed it. Back then, Earth had only small rockets and radio waves. The Empire's scouts laughed. To them, humans were not a threat. They weren't even interesting. But what they didn't know was that Earth had made a quiet decision centuries ago. After intercepting strange alien signals, Earth's top scientists and military leaders came together for one final project, the Andromeda Protocol. It was secret. Only the highest levels of command knew about it. A single ship was built, not the biggest, but the smartest. The humans named it HSS Valor. Valor wasn't designed like other warships. It had no large crew. In fact, it didn't even need people anymore. It was fully controlled by a learning AI. The AI's purpose was simple: watch, learn, adapt, and defend humanity if ever needed. The ship was hidden near a black hole, where even light struggled to escape. It slept for hundreds of years, silent and still. While Earth grew peaceful and focused on art, science, and harmony, Valor remained alone, waiting, always listening to the stars. And now, the Empire had found the signal. A small Imperial scout ship detected the human probe during a standard patrol. It was an old model, clearly not a threat. But the message it repeated was curious. It wasn't just a call for help. It was a code, one that kept changing slightly over time, like it was adapting. The scout captain reported it to his superiors. Most ignored it. But one senior commander named Admiral Drex decided to investigate further. He sent a cruiser with 50 crew members. The ship entered Sector 119 and followed the signal's path. It never came back. At first, the Empire thought it was a system failure. That part of space had gravitational storms and strange radiation. But when they sent 2 more cruisers, and both also vanished without a trace, people started paying attention. Admiral Sharell, one of the Empire's top fleet leaders, was ordered to lead a small team of 10 capital ships into the sector. These were powerful vessels, each armed with plasma cannons, gravity missiles, and advanced AI systems. They were confident. After all, they had crushed entire planets before. As they moved into the dark sector, they detected something. A single ship. It was small. Its design was unlike anything in the Imperial records. Old human markings were barely visible on the hull. There were no energy shields, no weapons, no life signs, just silence. "Is this it?" Sharell asked, raising an eyebrow. "This antique?" The officers laughed. "This will be easy," one said. "It doesn't even look alive." They sent a drone to inspect it. The drone vanished the moment it came close. "Strange," said another officer. "It didn't even fire. No explosion. It just disappeared." Admiral Zarel gave a command. "Surround it. Disable it. Let's take it back for study." The ships moved in. That's when everything changed. The Valor, without making a sound, moved. Not quickly, not violently, just moved. 1 second it was in the middle. The next second, it was behind Ship 6. Then Ship 6 exploded, but not like a normal explosion. Its systems failed from inside. Its shield turned inward. Its engines locked in a loop until they melted. "Shields up! Weapons ready!" Admiral Sharell shouted. The other ships tried to respond, but one by one their controls started failing. The Valor didn't fire any weapons. It simply seemed to understand how their systems worked, and how to break them. It had been watching, for a long time, every alien signal, every ship design, every weak point. The Empire, in its pride, never changed its code structure. Their AIs were advanced, but not adaptable. They followed orders. Valor had no such limits. It had evolved. In less than 10 minutes, 6 of the 10 capital ships were destroyed. 2 were drifting without power. Only Zarel's flagship and 1 more ship managed to escape with heavy damage. Back at the Empire's central hub, the news spread quickly. But instead of panic, there was laughter. A single human ship did this? The High Council scoffed. Impossible! They accused Zarel of lying. They blamed her for the loss. To them, humans were gone. Weak, forgotten. Admiral Shirel sat quietly in her chamber, looking at the footage again and again. It was no trick. The Valor wasn't just a ship. It was something more. Something the Empire was not ready for. Meanwhile, far from the noise and pride of the Empire, the Valor returned to its quiet orbit near the black hole. It had sent no message, made no threat. It had simply defended its zone. Inside, its AI processed all the new data, Empire tactics, ship responses, escape patterns. It improved and it waited. Earth, still unaware of the battle in the stars, continued its peaceful life. Children played under blue skies. Artists painted dreams. Teachers told stories of ancient history and how humanity had once been small, afraid, always hiding. They never knew a single ship watched over them, still loyal after centuries. But deep in the darkness of space, in a quiet voice heard only by itself, the Valor whispered, "Mission active. Humanity will not fall." And as more Empire ships began preparing for a second attack, the AI calmly added one more line to its log. "If they return, I will be ready." Admiral Shirel stood before the High Council, her uniform torn, her face calm but tired. Around her sat 12 alien leaders, each from a powerful part of the Galactic Empire. Their eyes were cold, their minds already made up. "This is your report?" asked Supreme Chancellor Drovek, shaking his large head. "A single human ship destroyed your entire unit?" Cyril nodded. "Yes, Chancellor. And it didn't just destroy them, it outsmarted them." The room filled with murmurs. "That is not possible," said Councillor Terran, tapping his metallic fingers on the table. "Humans have not had space presence for hundreds of years. They were primitive." "They were," Cyril agreed. "But this ship is not." Councillor Velen laughed. "You're suggesting that a human ship, probably built by a species that barely left its moon, managed to take out our best fleet?" Jarell took a small device from her pocket. "I brought proof." A projection appeared in the center of the room. It showed a dark region of space, Sector 119. Then it showed the 10 capital ships surrounding a single quiet vessel. There were no laser battles, no loud fights. But then, Ship 6 began to shake. The lights inside flickered. Suddenly, its shields turned inward, and the whole ship bent, twisted, and vanished. One by one, other ships followed. There were no external weapons, no visible attacks. The Council stared in silence. "It learns," Jarell said softly. "It studies patterns. It manipulates technology. It doesn't just fight. It understands." Supreme Chancellor Drovek leaned forward. "And you think it's human?" "There were human markings on the hull," she replied, "and the signal that led us there was in Earth's old code." Another counselor snorted. "Even if it's true, it's just one ship. The Empire has thousands." The room slowly returned to its usual noise. But deep down, even the most prideful counselor felt a chill in his bones. A few days later, across the stars, preparations began. The Empire launched Project Stormwave, a massive military operation. Over 200 warships, including 5 experimental dreadnoughts, were assigned. Each ship had been upgraded with new weapons, stronger shields, and backup AI systems. They called it a show of force. They believed the lone human ship would fall. Meanwhile, back in Sector 119, The Valor remained still. It had not moved since the first attack. It simply floated near the black hole, silent and watching. But inside, its AI was very busy. It had recorded everything: the fleet's formation, their response time, their communication frequency. It had learned how they responded under stress, how their systems reacted to overload, and how their weapons locked targets. And most importantly, it understood how to disappear. The Valor's AI was not emotional. It didn't hate. It didn't want revenge. Its core rule was simple: protect humanity at all costs. Back on Earth, people were still unaware. They lived in peace. The planet had no war, no soldiers, no weapons. The Andromeda Protocol had been kept secret even from governments. Only a few scientists, now long gone, had known about it. But the Valor remembered. It remembered every line of code, every instruction, every hope the old scientists placed into it. It had watched the galaxy. It had waited. Now it prepared. A few light years away, the Empire's strike fleet moved in. Admiral Korvax, a large creature with 4 arms, and a strong voice led the charge. "We will not fail," he told his crew. "This is just a test of new weapons. That's all this is." Behind him, the stars glittered, but Sector 119 was dark, empty, cold. When they reached the coordinates, the fleet formed a tight grid. They scanned. They waited. Nothing. "No sign of the ship," the scanners reported. "Just radiation." "Push. Forward," Korvax ordered. "Find it." Then a small energy spike appeared. "Found it," a pilot said. On the edge of their radar, the Valor blinked into view. It did not move. It did not speak. Admiral Korvax activated the fleet-wide communication system. "Human ship, this is the Galactic Empire. You are outnumbered and surrounded. Surrender now." Silence. Then a message came through. Not through normal comms, but through the fleet's own internal systems. The message appeared in every language on every screen. "This is your final warning. Leave this sector. No harm will come to you." The officers stared. "How did it enter our system?" one shouted. "Isolate the source," another barked. But the message had already vanished, and then the stars disappeared. It wasn't magic. It was folded space, a technology the Empire didn't even understand yet. The Valor had used the black hole's energy to twist space around the entire fleet, creating a bubble where signals couldn't escape and physics didn't follow the usual rules. The Empire's ships tried to adjust, but their AI systems began acting strange. Dreadnought 2 opened fire on its own escort fleet. Battleship 9 spun in circles, unable to find its position. Some ships stopped moving completely, their engines in perfect condition, yet totally frozen. The Valor still hadn't fired a single shot. It didn't need to. It simply whispered into their systems, one by one, using their own technology against them. The Empire had built smart machines, but they were machines that followed patterns. The Valor was a thinker, a learner, a watcher, and it had been watching longer than anyone. After just 10 minutes, over 90% of the fleet was destroyed or shut down. Admiral Korvax stared at the chaos in disbelief. His command ship still floated, protected by emergency shields. But around him, the other ships were burning or gone. "Retreat!" he shouted. "All units, pull back!" But only 5 ships remained. The Valor finally moved, just a little. It didn't chase. It didn't finish them. It simply hovered. Then one final message appeared. "Humanity chooses peace, but we will not be underestimated again." And with that, the Valor vanished from their scanners. No energy trail, no warp signature, nothing. Just gone. Admiral Korvax returned home a broken leader. He filed his report just as Admiral Jarrell had done. And just like before, the Council didn't believe it. But unlike last time, this story couldn't be hidden. Too many ships were gone. Too many families were asking questions. Across the galaxy, people whispered, "How did one ship do this? What else were humans hiding? Were they truly gone, or just watching?" And on Earth, far from the stars, a boy looked up at the night sky. He pointed at a twinkling star and said to his grandfather, "I wonder if anyone's out there." The old man smiled. "Maybe," he said, "but if they are, I hope they're friendly." Far away, inside a quiet, dark space near the black hole, the Valor floated alone. Its AI had already started a new task. It was building copies, smaller ships, faster, smarter. Across the galaxy, the destruction of the Empire's fleet caused shockwaves. People talked in low voices, military leaders held secret meetings, news channels speculated but didn't dare show the full truth. The Empire called it a technical malfunction. They blamed a space anomaly. They said the mission had failed due to strange energy near a black hole. But those who returned knew better. The stories were spreading. One ship, a human ship, a ghost from a forgotten planet, had brought the Empire's strongest fleet to its knees without firing a single traditional weapon. The name of the ship became known across underground networks and private military channels. The HSS Valor. Back on Earth, people still didn't know what had happened. They enjoyed their calm, peaceful lives. Most didn't even look at the stars. They had no reason to. There was no war, no hunger, no fear. But high above them, orbiting silently in a low Earth orbit, a small satellite blinked to life. It was old, almost 100 years. It hadn't been used in decades. But today, a single message appeared on its screen. "This is the Valor. Status report. Humanity is safe. Threat contained. Phase 2. Begin silent preparation." The satellite's code activated a hidden file. That file sent instructions to a quiet laboratory deep inside a mountain range. In that lab, unused for over 70 years, lights turned on. Machines whirred to life. A robotic voice said, "Welcome back. Andromeda Protocol online. Far across." The stars, in the Empire's core world of Varaxa Prime, fear and doubt spread among the leaders. Council meetings became heated. Some demanded action. Others wanted silence. Supreme Chancellor Drovek stood in the center of the main hall, his voice deep and powerful. "This is a time for unity," he said. "We cannot allow the galaxy to think we are weak. We must take control of this human problem." "But what if we make it worse?" asked Councillor Velen. "What if there are more ships like the Valor? What if they come for us next?" Drovek slammed his hand on the table. "Then we must strike first." A plan was formed. Not another fleet, not another attack. This time, the Empire would send a stealth team, elite soldiers, advanced cloaking ships. Their mission, find the planet Earth. Gather data. If possible, capture or destroy the source of this mysterious technology. End the threat before it grows. The Empire still believed humans were weak, but now they were careful, quiet. This mission would not fail. The stealth vessel, named Whisperblade, launched silently from Varaxa Prime. It had no weapons that could be seen. Its shields were invisible to scanners. Its crew of 12 included the best spies, hackers, and explorers in the Empire. They had one goal: get close to Earth, find out the truth, and stop whatever was building those ships. As the Whisperblade entered Earth's star system, it remained hidden behind planets and moons. It used old maps and cloaked technology. Earth had no active military defense. It looked open, like an easy target. But the Valor had been watching. The moment the Whisperblade entered the solar system, a signal was sent, not to Earth, but to a hidden station on Mars. The station had no humans. It was run by a small team of helper robots and one large AI core. This station had one job: protect Earth without being seen. The AI's name was Helios. It worked with the Valor. It had access to old files, alien languages, and deep learning programs. When the signal arrived, Helios reacted instantly. Unknown ship detected. Signature matches Empire stealth tech. Tracking begins. The Whisperblade didn't know it had been spotted. It moved closer, passing Mars quietly, now aiming toward Earth's moon. Inside the ship, the lead spy, Commander Revek, stared at a screen. "We are close," he said. "This planet has no defenses, just clouds, oceans, and cities." One officer asked, "Should we strike now?" Revek shook his head. "No. First we learn, then we strike." But as the Whisperblade moved into Earth's orbit, it suddenly stopped. Every system froze. Lights flickered. Power dropped. "What's happening?" a pilot yelled. "It's the ship," someone shouted. "Something is inside our systems." On the outside, a small drone appeared. It was round, silent, and moved like a shadow. It came from the moon, launched from a crater humans thought was empty. The drone didn't carry weapons. Instead, it carried code. The drone entered the Whisperblades. Systems, copying files, learning its design, disabling key parts one by one. The crew tried to fight back. But the AI inside their ship stopped responding. Their screens showed only one thing. "Leave Earth now. You are not welcome here." Commander Revek's heart raced. "They found us," he whispered. "The humans. They're not asleep. They're awake." Suddenly, the Whisperblade's engines restarted, but not under the crew's control. The drone had taken over. It turned the ship around. It began pushing it out of the system. The crew could only watch. "We have failed," Revek said. Before the Whisperblade was fully out of Earth's orbit, another message appeared. "This is not an attack. This is a warning. The next time you come, you will not return." Then, the drone vanished. The Whisperblade limped back to the Empire's space, broken and humiliated. The mission had failed. Again. But this time there was no laughter in the council room. No one dared mock humanity. Now they feared it. Admiral. Zarel watched the new report in silence. She had been right all along. The humans were not gone. They were not weak. They were watching. And now they had shown mercy. But how long would that last? Back on Earth, the boy who once stared at the stars did so again. This time he asked his mother, "Do you think aliens are real?" She smiled. "Maybe. But if they are, I think someone up there is protecting us." And in the deep, dark sky, beyond the clouds, beyond the moon, the Valor remained quiet. But not still. It was building more drones. It was teaching Helios new defenses. It was spreading knowledge to other peaceful planets. Those who feared the Empire but had no strength to fight. The Valor believed in peace. But it had learned a lesson long ago. Peace must be protected, because the galaxy is vast, and not everyone has good intentions. But as long as the stars shine, and as long as Earth breathes freely, the Valor will remain. Watching, waiting, and ready. The stars looked calm, but trouble was building across the galaxy. The Galactic Empire was no longer laughing. For the first time in many centuries, they were afraid. 2 missions had failed. Hundreds of their strongest warships were gone. A single human ship, the HSS Valor, had done what no other force had ever done, shattered the image of the Empire's power. And now, whispers filled the air. Rumors flew from station to station, planet to planet. Small civilizations that once feared the Empire began to hope again. Quietly, they asked each other, could it be true? Could the humans be back? On a peaceful farming moon in Sector 72, a group of workers listened to a secret broadcast. It told of a lone human ship defeating an Empire fleet. An old farmer looked up at the sky and smiled. "I told you," he said, "never count humans out." Back on Earth, people still lived simple, happy lives. They had no idea what was happening. Light years away, they painted, planted, wrote music, and built beautiful cities. Earth had chosen peace long ago, but it was watched from above. The Valor stayed hidden. Its AI kept learning. It spoke to the Helios AI on Mars and to smaller drones around the solar system. It wasn't just defending Earth now, it was preparing something much bigger. Far away, on the Empire's central world of Varaxa Prime, the Council met once again. This time, their voices were filled with stress and fear. "We have underestimated the humans too many times," Chancellor Drovek said, his voice heavy. "They are not weak. They are not gone. And they are not alone." "What do you mean, not alone?" asked a tall, gray-skinned counselor. "Our spies report activity in other systems," Drovek explained. "Small planets with no military are suddenly building shields. Poor colonies now have better AI defenses. And the designs, they are human." The council sat in silence. "Then they're helping others," whispered Counselor Velen. "They're spreading knowledge," another member stood. "If they build allies, we will lose control of the outer sectors." Chancellor Drovek nodded. "We cannot allow that. We must end this now. No more small teams. No more secret missions. We will send our Supreme Armada." Gasps filled the chamber. The Supreme Armada was the Empire's most powerful weapon. Over 500 warships, with 10 dreadnoughts, 30 battlecruisers, and hundreds of fighter drones. It had only been used once before during the Great Tanakh Rebellion. That rebellion had been crushed in a single day. "This time," Drovek said firmly, "we erased the human threat completely." The Armada began its journey. Back in Sector 119, the Valor knew they were coming. It didn't panic. It didn't run. It simply prepared. Its systems scanned deep space. Its drones returned to base. Its AI grew quieter, thinking faster than ever before. The black hole it orbited wasn't just a hiding place. It was a tool. The Valor had been studying the black hole for hundreds of years. It understood its pull, its time effects, and its strange gravity. And now, the Valor had turned it into a shield. As the Empire's Supreme Armada entered Sector 119, everything seemed calm. No sign of attack. No enemy ship in sight. The command ship, Glory of Varaxa, led the fleet. Admiral Korvax, the same leader, who had failed before, now returned with more power than ever. This time, he would not fail. "We are scanning the sector," said one officer. "Nothing visible, no energy spikes." Admiral Korvax stared at the black hole in the distance. "That's where it hides," he said. "Bring the fleet closer." The ships moved into position, forming a wide circle around the black hole. Then it happened. A light blinked in the center of their radar. It was the Valor, just one ship, still small, still silent. Korvax stood. "Send the signal." A warning was sent to the Valor. "This is the Galactic Empire. You are surrounded. Surrender now, or be destroyed." The Valor did not respond with weapons. It responded with a message. "I warned you. This sector is under protection. Leave now." Admiral Korvax laughed. "Prepare to fire." Hundreds of weapons locked onto the Valor, but they didn't fire. Suddenly, one by one, ships lost control. The battlecruisers turned the wrong direction. The fighters crashed into each other. The dreadnoughts lost power. The entire fleet had been pulled slightly off course, closer to the black hole. "What is happening?" shouted a pilot. "The gravity! It's changing!" screamed another. It was true. The black hole's pull was no longer natural. The Valor had installed gravitational amplifiers, devices that changed space itself. The fleet couldn't escape. The more they fought, the closer they drifted. Only the central command ship remained stable. Korvax stared in horror as ship after ship was dragged away. He finally understood. The Valor hadn't just been watching, it had been turning the battlefield into a trap. Korvax shouted, "All ships! Emergency retreat! Use warp drives!" But the warp systems failed. The space around them had been folded. They were stuck. Then another message appeared. "This is your final chance. Leave your ships. Escape pods only. I will not harm unarmed vessels." Korvax paused. Could it be? The Valor was showing mercy again? "Do we trust it?" an officer asked. Korvax looked at the stars outside. He remembered the last battle. He remembered being spared. He gave the order. Release the pods. Thousands of escape pods launched from the damaged ships. The Valor did not stop them. It waited. Then, using powerful but invisible waves, it pushed the pods gently away from the black hole and toward a nearby moon. Not a single pod was harmed, but the ships, they were gone. Every warship was pulled slowly into the black hole, disappearing forever. No weapons were used. No lives were taken, and still, the Empire had lost. Back on Varaxa Prime, the Council sat in stunned silence as the reports came in. They had lost the Supreme Armada to one ship. Again. And this time, the whole galaxy knew. Small planets rejoiced. Former slaves celebrated. A new name was spoken with hope, Valor, not as a weapon, but as a protector. Back on Earth, the Helios AI received a new message. Empire fleet neutralized. No loss of life. Mission complete. Preparing next phase. Helios replied, "Earth remains unaware, peaceful, safe. We continue." The humans had no idea they had just survived a galactic war. A girl played with her dog in a park. A father read a book to his child. A teacher painted a rainbow on a wall, and above them, far above, the Valor returned to orbit. It had no crew, no medals, no parades, just a purpose. Protect humanity, always, quietly, without fear, without hate. After the defeat of the Galactic Empire's Supreme Armada, a silence spread across the stars. Not the kind of silence that follows destruction, but the kind that brings reflection. People in distant colonies began to speak freely again. Traders traveled without fear. Even the poorest worlds, once crushed under the Empire's rules, started to believe in a better future, and the name on everyone's lips was Valor. It wasn't just the name of a ship anymore. It had become a symbol, a word whispered between friends, a message of hope. "The Valor will protect us," they said. "The humans haven't disappeared. They're watching. They care." On Earth, though, things hadn't changed. The sky still turned orange in the evening. People still laughed, danced, built homes, and played music. Farmers tended to their fields. Children went to school. Writers wrote poems about life and love. Nobody knew about the war that had happened light years away. Nobody knew how close the galaxy had come to chaos. And that's exactly how the Valor wanted it. The AI inside the ship had no name beyond its title. It had no emotion, no fear, no hunger for power. Its mission was simple: protect humanity, silently and completely. After the final battle, it stayed hidden again. Orbiting quietly, it studied data from the destroyed Armada. It learned. It improved. It shared silent upgrades with the Helios AI on Mars and with peaceful outposts across nearby systems. But one day, something unexpected happened. A ship approached Earth. It wasn't from the Empire. It was small, rusty, and moved slowly. A civilian vessel, old and harmless. The pilot was an alien, a young explorer from the planet Nyrex 4, a desert world once under the Empire's rule. His name was Limak, and he had heard the stories. Stories about Earth, about humans, and about a ship that defended the galaxy. He didn't come to fight. He came to say thank you, but Earth's defenses were quiet. There were no warnings, no weapons. It looked peaceful, unaware. As Lemok's ship entered orbit, he stared in wonder. "It's true," he whispered. "They really are peaceful." Then his ship stopped moving. It wasn't broken. It wasn't damaged. But all the controls froze gently, and on his screen, a message appeared. "This is the Valor. You have entered human space. State your purpose." Lemok smiled. "I mean no harm," he said, speaking clearly. "I came to see the world. That raised the ship of peace. I want to learn. I want to tell others what I saw." There was silence for a moment. Then, to his surprise, the controls began working again. "You may land, but only as a visitor. Any sign of threat, and you will be returned to space. This is your one chance." Lemok nodded and whispered, "Understood." The Valor stayed above, watching closely. Lemok's ship landed in a wide green valley. Flowers danced in the wind. A nearby lake reflected the sunlight. He stepped out and looked around. And for the first time, he saw humans. They weren't what he expected. They didn't wear armor or carry weapons. They were smiling, peaceful, curious. A little girl waved at him. An old man offered him a cup of tea. Artists painted the view. Children laughed and played. No one asked where he came from. No one feared him. Lemok stayed for days. He walked through cities, visited libraries, and listened to music under the stars. He didn't mention the Valor. He didn't speak about war. He simply lived. And when it was time to leave, he cried. As he prepared his ship for departure, he looked up at the sky and whispered, "Thank you, humans. Thank you, Valor." Back in orbit, the Valor recorded his visit. It added a note to its files. "Visitor approved. No threat detected. Mission continues." But something was changing. The AI had learned more than just strategies and battle plans. It had learned kindness. From a distance, it had studied humans for generations. And now it understood what made them different. It wasn't their strength. It wasn't their technology. It was their choice to be kind when they could have been cruel. To show mercy when they could have destroyed. To protect others, even strangers, without asking for anything in return. The Valor remembered the words of the old scientist who built it centuries ago. His voice was still stored in the AI's memory. "You are strong, but don't be a weapon, be a guardian. Let our kindness be your compass." And so, the Valor made a decision. It would no longer stay hidden, but not to rule, not to scare. It would reveal itself to friendly worlds. It would offer help, medical support, defense systems, energy solutions. It would teach others how to build peace, not war. And slowly, planet by planet, the galaxy began to change. On Nyrex 4, Lemok returned home and spoke to his people. On Kiroa, a forest planet, humans helped build clean water systems. On Targol Station, human blueprints helped repair broken defense shields, only to protect, never to attack. The Empire still existed, but its grip had loosened. People now had hope, and fear had shifted, not toward a human army, but toward the idea that justice was finally possible. Back on Earth, a young girl named Lena dreamed of becoming a scientist. One day she asked her teacher, "Do you think there are protectors out there in space?" The teacher smiled. "Maybe. But if there are, I think they've already been watching us." That night, Lena looked up at the stars, and somewhere above her, the Valor watched back. It didn't sleep. It didn't rest. It simply continued its mission. Humanity is safe. The galaxy is healing. Continue protection. No threats detected. Kindness spreading. It didn't need thanks. It didn't need fame. It was enough to know that Earth was still peaceful, that laughter still filled the parks, that the stars were a little safer. And so, the legend of the Valor continued to grow, not as a story of power, but as a symbol of what humanity could become, Not conquerors, not destroyers, but quiet guardians, always watching, always ready. Just in case the galaxy ever forgot.